how am I supposed to do this? How do I talk about Piranesi in a way that's not more of a rave than anything? So Piranesi is a wonderful story. Piranesi is a really wonderful story. I feel like it's almost Greek mythology in our times, like our mythology in a way. It just has this feel of, yeah, Greek mythology. I love it. I enjoy it to a really super high degree. So I actually read Piranesi a few weeks ago, and I'm only just making this because I didn't know how to do it. I'm just like, okay, let me just spew words. So Piranesi is the story. Let me sort of explain the story. So there is the house, which is this enormous building, and I do mean enormous. It's full of hallways, and the hallways are full of statues in alcoves and such, of varying sizes, from small to super huge statues of almost everything. The lower levels of this house, I mean, it's not just big, it's massive on an epic scale, almost. I don't know if it's continental, but it's really epic. The lower levels of this house are full of oceans, or just, yeah, let me call them oceans. So the house is basically, the whole world is this house. In this house there is a man, and this man is Piranesi, or at least that's the name by which he is known, because there are only two living people. There's Piranesi, and there is the other, because he's the only other person in existence. So the narrative is sort of dreamy in a way, almost dreamlike, I don't know. So Piranesi is the child of the house. That's what he describes himself as. And so he's this almost scientific person who's keeping records of the house, and studying it. So he's kept a record of the hallways where they go. He's even made a system for the weather and everything. Basically, when will there be floodings in certain sections of the house, and such and such. So the other is looking for something, and Piranesi is sort of his assistant, but most of the time Piranesi is solitary. He's just solitary in his wanderings through the house and appreciating it. And there's almost a childlike sense of awe to Piranesi, and to his discoveries, the way he records things. Wonderful. And then the we sort of start realizing what's actually happening in this world, and the revelations that are made are a bit ground shaking, because I didn't really expect Piranesi to turn into what it did. But that's the brief, spoiler free, I guess, description of Piranesi. Should I jump into a spoiler section? Yeah. Spoilers abound from this point on. So when Piranesi realizes that, wow, the other is actually this man who has tricked him into basically serving his ends for this past almost 10 years or so. That was a bit heartbreaking, but then I don't know. My final thought is that everyone should have a certain world to escape to. That's my final thought, but I feel like I want to talk about some of these things more. I need to read the previous book. Is it Mr. Norrell and something? Because there is this character, the officer that turns up. I feel like she's a character that's showed up previously in one of the author's works, and I want to read about her. She seems intriguing, like the quintessential sad person who's just fed up with life but is still a hero. So I don't know exactly what Piranesi tries to say, because the whole, I don't know, premise of the story is that magic has leaked out of the world, and this fella just discovers it casually and has an almost cult-like following that essentially proves everything he was saying to be right. And then in the end, it's not even really a big deal. It's not life changing. It's just this old man with this really big secret, and he's just sitting on it, and he's just laughing at the wall, and he's like, "Oh, I was right." But so those are my weird reactions and thoughts on Piranesi. I have a lot more thoughts. It's just that I'm not being clear right now, and I do apologize for that. Well, that is as it is, and basically, I do have more thoughts, and I'll make a more essay like video trying to discuss the themes and such and such and such, but that's a bit further on in the future than present. So all I can say is do subscribe and like the video. Leave me a comment. I want to know if you've read the book and what exactly did you like the most. So I'll see you soon in my next video, and I really need to find the first book by this author and devour it too, because yeah, it's probably going to be great. Although I do have a question. Why is the cover of a faun? I guess the faun is probably a statue in the house, but fauns always remind me of C.S. Lewis's and books. So yeah, just me throwing a wild comment out there. Ciao.